Hi all, Artie here. Some of you may be wondering, what exactly is the Bible anyway? Today, I'm going to answer that question. In a nutshell, the Bible is God's Word, an inspired owner's manual for our lives written by our Creator God. It gives people the guidance and answers that you need for navigating everyday life. That's why we are encouraged to read and study the Bible daily because it contains God's wisdom to humans for daily learning. Now, God's wisdom is given through historical stories, wisdom recommendations, and even prophecies, which talk about the future. His wisdom is not always straightforward. We have to read, study, pray, and meditate. Really think about His Word in order to understand how the Bible's wisdom applies to our lives. Now, the enemy knows that the Bible is God's inspired word. So, in his attempt to discredit God, he will try to make people doubt the Bible's authenticity. He'll try to convince people that the Bible is just a group of stories or fairy tales, just made up because the different books were written by so many people. But that is actually one of the amazing things about the Bible. It contains 66 books that were written from 1500 BC to 95 AD. It was written by people from all walks of life. Moses was a shepherd and an adopted relative of the Pharaoh of Egypt. David and Solomon were kings. Matthew was a tax collector. Peter was a fisherman. And Paul was a Pharisee. Yet throughout all of the books, there is one solid theme: God's efforts and desire to reconcile join us back together with humankind. Regardless of the story told, that is the underlying theme. This shows that God guided the writer's words and is the inspiration behind the human authors. In fact, the Bible predicted things that happened far later, long after the books had been written and published. For example, Isaiah chapter 43, verses 5 through 6 says, "I will bring your descendants from the east and gather you from the west. I will say to the north, give them up, and to the south, do not keep them back. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the ends of the earth." Now, the Jewish people were driven out of Israel in 70 AD by the Romans long after the prophet Isaiah wrote these words. The Romans even took all of the items from the temple. And the Jewish people remained in exile over 2,000 years and didn't return until the 20th century. For the last 120 years, Jewish people have returned to Israel from all over the world, just as the Bible predicted, long before it ever happened. And this is just one example of God's promises in the Bible that have come true. Throughout history, the Bible has been loved, hated, treasured, banned, burned, outlawed, and denied. Through all of that, it has become the most popular and best-selling book in all history. So take a look at the Bible. It's a book you can't ignore. It comes in many different translations, from old-fashioned King James English to modern everyday words. So somewhere out there is a Bible just for you. This is Artie signing out. Bye.